morning, everyone, and welcome to After GMS. Today is Tuesday, December 7th. I'm Tracy McCain here with Christian Morgan and Megan Malaris.
Yeah, we got to start with our forecast because a lot has happened in the past 24 hours. I mean, we were walking around in t-shirts yesterday afternoon and this morning bundled up back in the heavy coats.
Big shock to the system.
It's rude.
It's a bit disrespectful, isn't it?
Disrespectful.
At least we don't have the wind like we had yesterday. That wind was something else. I'll tell you what, blow the doors right off the car. Taking a live look over downtown Greensboro this morning, we still have some clouds left over from that cold front, but they're not going to be long-lived. They'll move out as we go throughout the mid-morning hours, but take a look at those temperatures. Boy, they have taken a tumble. 34 right now in the Gate City, and all of us running about 15 to 20 degrees colder this morning than we were yesterday. So that cold front, it ain't playing. It means real business. Take a look down to the south and east. They're not as cold as we are because all of that cold air from the north hasn't quite filtered in to those places yet. But of course it will over the course of the morning. Now remember what your mama told you. Layer it up this morning. Gloves, big coats, something to stay cozy with this afternoon. You know, a big coffee is not a bad idea either. We'll have a lot of sunshine, but it's a chilly day of weather, sticking it out in the 40s for most of the day. On the radar, things are quiet, of course, here at home. Zooming out in a wider view, you can see what's left of that cold front now pushing off the coast, and there actually are a few showers starting to pop up along that front, but they're out over the ocean, of no concern to us. As that cold front is now to our east and down to our south a bit, high pressure is in control of our weather. That's bringing in our winds out of the north. All that cool Canadian air's making its impact here in the Triad. Meanwhile, as that front is down to our south and to our east, it'll stall out a bit this morning and then start to lift back to the north a bit as a warm front. At the same time, a little area of low pressure will develop along that front and track up along the North Carolina coast. Now, a few days ago, this was looking like a promising setup for us to get some very needed and beneficial rainfall, but that just doesn't look like the case anymore. That low pressure is going to stay a little more to the south and east, which keeps most of the moisture down that way as well. It quickly moves away from us heading into Wednesday afternoon. High pressure builds back in and takes control, and we have sunshine again for your Thursday. So here's how Futurecast plays today out. It's a mostly sunny day, but after the sunset, you'll notice those clouds building back in tonight. And by the time you wake up early tomorrow morning, we'll have a few showers across the area. Now notice where most of that rain is. Yeah, it's off to the east and down to the south. So places to the north and west, the foothills, pretty much going to miss out entirely on an opportunity for some rain. The Triad not really looking at a whole lot. I think generally less than 1/4 of an inch in the rain gauge by the time we're done with tomorrow morning. So this is not going to be a big deal rain system like it once had the potential to be. Heading into Thursday, sunshine is back and we start a bit of a warm up toward the end of the week, but it will be short lived. Today, mostly sunny. 49 for that afternoon high today. Bit breezy this morning, but the winds relax this afternoon and tonight. We'll see partly cloudy skies overnight, dropping down into the mid-30s, and heading into your Wednesday, again, we'll watch for a couple showers tomorrow morning, so go ahead and plan to pack the umbrella with you as you head out for your Wednesday morning travel. You won't need it by the afternoon, though. Drying things out, but it's still a chilly day of weather in the upper 40s, back to the low 50s with sun on Thursday, and then we'll have a low chance for a couple showers Friday afternoon. We're in the upper 50s on Friday, 70 on Saturday ahead of that front that'll roll through Saturday night and on into Sunday. And that would be our next opportunity for some needed and beneficial rainfall. We'll see if that plays out. Still several days out and still a lot of uncertainties on what happens there, but we will cross our fingers and hold our breath for finally some measurable rain that we all desperately need. Ending the weekend and heading into next week, we're dry on Monday, but back to the chilly temperatures in the low 50s.
Well, there is an active Amber Alert for a missing 1-year-old child out of Randolph County. Deputies believe 34-year-old Roxanne Parson abducted her daughter, Ava Lee Pierce, during a visit last week, December 1st. Ava's father did not report her missing until last night, and Randolph County investigators say Parson does not have parental rights, and there is a warrant for her arrest.
So deputies say Ava has brown hair and blue eyes. You see her picture on the left there. She was wearing a white shirt with black pants at the time she disappeared. She has a birthmark on the right side of her stomach. Officials say Parson also has brown hair and blue eyes with some distinguished marks on her face. If you know anything about where they might be or where they might be going, call 911. Of course, we're hoping for this child's safe return as quickly as possible.
Definitely.
All right, our big talker this morning, already a lot of you weighing in here on our feed. Toyota announcing it is bringing its first U.S. car battery manufacturing plant right here to the Triad. It is expected to create more than 1,700 new jobs at the mega site.
This is a big deal with a huge impact on our economy, benefiting everything down the line from restaurants nearby the site to universities and construction. The list really goes on. So this is where you come in. We want to know how you feel about these new jobs coming to the mega site and Toyota building its facility right here in the Triad. We do have some reasons why Toyota chose the Triad. We'll go ahead and show them to you right now. The company was scouting for a location that was interested in renewable energy availability, had a world-renowned education system, and also an extensive highway system.
Candidates for the site narrowed down based on those requirements and more. The Greensboro-Randolph mega site team met and said that site exceeded those expectations. So let's see what you think. Dwayne said, "It's awesome. I see this area growing and expanding for the benefit of the community, just like the area where I came from, Lehigh Valley in Pennsylvania." Maggie said, "Very pleased with this news." Bob raised the question of filling the job, saying, "How will Toyota find employees? There's a hiring crunch now for existing businesses." And Mark said, "Great," in all caps.
All right, so you are from Randolph County.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to start with you, Christian. You've probably seen changes within this county over the last several years with the creation of this mega site, hoping and waiting for something to be built there, and here it is.
Yeah, and over the last few years, they've really been trying to push this and been trying to market this mega site as a place to attract, businesses like Toyota.
Right.
And of course, there's some mixed feelings across the board, but it really seems like the positive outlook on it is really outweighing the negative outlook. I think everybody's excited for the opportunity for growth it can bring and the amount of jobs that it'll bring. And really this is kind of a situation where it only takes one, right? You get one company in there that kind of says, okay, we're going to step out on a limb here and we're going to set up shop here, and then the others will follow.
Right.
And you can already see in the area close by the mega site where they're clearing some land, in anticipation for homes and other things to be constructed there. So I think it's going to be a huge thing for Randolph County and for Greensboro as well. It's just kind of a central hub.
Yeah.
They said one of the reasons they picked it was so close to several different airports.
Right.
You can tap into so many opportunities as far as recruiting workers and recruiting employees. So I think overall kind of the outlook on it has been very positive. People are excited about it. It'll take a couple of years to kind of get everything situated and for them actually start to produce out of this facility.
Right.
But it seems like everybody's kind of on board about it.
Yeah.
Well, and we know this company was particularly attracted to our universities and our workforce. I can't help but think about Randolph Community College, which has done an exceptional job in recent years training students for these high-paying trade positions, which sound like the kinds of jobs that are going to be at this electric car battery manufacturing facility here that Toyota is going to put at the mega site, averaging about $62,000 a year. So, great opportunities that we're seeing with regard to the concern about the workforce. Toyota and some experts did address that in part yesterday, saying this is going to be a process over time. This plant is not expected to start producing parts until 2025. They have not even broken ground yet. This just became final yesterday. So this is a process that's going to take time. I think the recruiting efforts are going to start early. Likely we'll see some recruiting efforts out of state as well, bringing more people to our area. And the trickle-down effect that's going to have on all the other jobs and the housing market. So we'll have to wait and see on that, but I certainly understand those concerns, especially given the current labor shortage situation that we find ourselves in.
Yeah.
I think this can help turn around the Triad, the state. I mean, granted, we have been doing great in terms of bringing companies into the state, offering incentives to do that and such. But I feel like there's just so much excitement around this site in particular, because if you've driven by it, it really is a plot of land. And you have to have the vision to kind of see what could come of it. And there were a few who saw that and said, we are going to get a company to start and to build here. It's only going to cause, again, this trickle-down effect. We've seen the impact that companies have had on other communities, Mississippi, Pennsylvania, where these companies have come in and really transformed communities that were struggling in terms of joblessness and also keeping businesses open, kind of revive the communities. Now, Randolph County is popping. My brother lives there, so I understand, you know, there's the mall and different restaurants, but this will just add to the excitement that is already building in this community. And I know it's going to take time, but I'm already thinking, you know, 2024, I mean, you know, next year it's 2022.
Yeah.
It'll be here before you know it.
It'll fly.
They build an Amazon fulfillment center near my parents' house
Oh, yeah.
within like 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I was like, where did this, and it's currently running. So, I mean, these buildings can go up depending on, you know, the size and extent.
Right.
Pretty quickly, yeah.
You know, a lot of people, I think, sometimes kind of feel let down because we have all these opportunities and these promising, you know, hey, we might get an Amazon fulfillment site or we might get something else, and then they end up passing the Triad by to go to a Charlotte or go to a Raleigh.
Right.
So the fact that Toyota has now decided to set up shop here in the Triad, I think is kind of a wake-up call probably to some of these other companies. And, you know, hey, this is our opportunity now. Let's shine and let's build it going forward.
Yeah.
Overwhelmingly, the comments on our feed are in support of this Toyota plant, but we have heard from a couple expressing some concerns. Brenda, for example, said she's not looking forward to the traffic and growth in her area. She loves the quiet of country life. We've seen that with various projects over the years, some resistance to change. Change is hard, especially, you know, if you grew up in an area that was quiet and peaceful, and now it's expected to be a bustling manufacturing business hub. But ultimately, the economic benefits of what's going to happen here and the betterment of the lives that you have to consider, I think, might exceed, but not discount, certainly, some of those early concerns about the hustle and bustle. You know, Governor Cooper mentioned yesterday in the announcement with Toyota that he was disappointed a few years ago when Toyota Mazda ultimately turned us down to move to Alabama. But he said when that window closed, that just meant a better and bigger door open. And that was this opportunity. And the fact that Toyota, which was part of that deal that turned us down then, obviously stuck around to see the benefits and decide to choose us this time around, speaks volumes.
It does. And another thing I wanted that you mentioned was, you know, part of the reason they chose this was the close proximity to all our universities, you know, in the area and across North Carolina. And, you know, I think for college students who are about to graduate and they are, you know, they are graduating with these degrees and they're like, okay, well, now I'm going to have to move somewhere pretty far away to really get a good job. You know, maybe not so much anymore. You know, maybe they, especially if they're from this area, it keeps them close to home if they want to do that. So there's an opportunity for that too.
Yeah, that's a great point there. And these jobs are going to range from, you know, executive positions, you know, onto floor managers and then production line workers. So there really is a skill and a craft for, you know, I would say every skill set that is available. So you're talking about the engineers that graduate from North Carolina A&T or from Randolph Community College. And then you think about the high school graduates who are doing these tech programs right now, these CRT certifications. So, I mean, there really are endless possibilities. And when a company is successful, it only grows their opportunity to be more. So then they'll add on and bring in more jobs and make more of an investment. So we hope it thrives here so that it will stay here.
Yeah, only takes one.
If you build it, they will come. In this case, it took a few years, but they're coming. And it is supposed to be a fantastic opportunity for multiple reasons. All right, thanks for weighing in on this. Let's get to some morning headlines before we get to our second talker here. Local leaders gave Toyota a lot of incentives to come to the Triad. The state budget passed with $300 million included for the mega site. Randolph County will pay 60% of Toyota's property tax and consider covering any permitting fees. The city of Greensboro approved $800,000 to pay for the mega site's water and sewer fees. The mega site has missed out on a couple other big opportunities over the years. We mentioned a few. Local leaders first bought the site in 2015 for $10 million. In 2018, the mega site was on the short list for a Toyota Mazda plant. The company chose Alabama instead. Last year, remember this, the Chamber of Commerce flew a plane over Tesla headquarters in California, hoping to hire that company here, but Tesla chose Texas instead.
Well, more job opportunities could be on the way to Greensboro. Governor Cooper signed a bill setting aside $100 million for a project at PTI Airport. We know the leaders there want to use money to attract an aircraft manufacturer and would create around 1,700 more jobs. While the money is there, a deal is not final, and we'll keep you updated. So this year, of course, people are worried about getting their gifts to their loved ones in time for Christmas because of the supply chain issues and shipping delays. Well, if those gifts do make it on time, then you have a second concern. Someone stealing gifts from your porch. And that brings us to our next conversation. Have you made any changes to how you get your packages, or how they're delivered and how you protect them?
Maybe you have them sent to work or to the home of a trusted friend who you know will be home when it arrives. Comment below here with your strategies or any experiences that are bad that you've had sending or receiving packages. WFMY News 2's Denise McMiller stopped by the post office this morning with some tips on protecting your packages this year.
Well, porch pirates can throw off anyone's holiday. No one wants to put the thought, effort, and time into getting the perfect gift for their loved one to never receive it. But we're going to make sure that your loved ones receive their cards and packages safely. Here's some tips you can remember when you are getting your packages delivered. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you track your packages. You also can sign up for text or email alerts that let you know when packages are delivered. And try to be home for a delivery or have a neighbor grab the mail for you. If that's not possible, have items shipped to your workplace.
A lot of companies now will let you have packages delivered to the store, or you can have it delivered to some of these mailboxes or some of these storage sites around the city.
And package thefts are more common than you may think. This is video from a home in High Point back in September. The thief took 2 packages and it was captured on the homeowner's doorbell video. In 2019, High Point saw 15 reported thefts, and there were 3 fewer in 2020. And so far in 2021, just 6. But law enforcement says the decrease could be because of the pandemic and folks being home, making it harder for folks to steal. Experts say even if you're home, be on the lookout because thieves are getting creative.
You also
All right, so the question this morning, I thought Lachelle Yates, who works with the Better Business Bureau, was going to continue there, but we wanted to know about changes that you've made to your package deliveries to protect them from so-called porch pirates. Have you ever gotten hit by one? Oh, I can't even imagine. All right, Christian, start us off. Are you getting your packages delivered a certain way now because of concern?
I haven't yet, but most of the times if it's something a little more expensive, I always make sure that I sign for it first. You know, there's sometimes an option on your shipping that says, do you want to sign for this, or you want them to leave it in a certain location? And usually I say, sign for that.
Right.
You know, because most of the things I order that are they're expensive are probably, you know, musical instruments or band equipment or something along the lines of that. So I always make sure I sign for that.
How about you, Meg?
Well, thankfully, knock on wood, gosh, I don't have any experiences that I'm aware of packages getting stolen off the front porch. But I've had some that haven't been delivered or that I thought weren't delivered that could have been those types of situations. However, my cul-de-sac and my neighbors and I have like an agreement. If we see a package on each other's porch and know that that person's not home, we'll take it in and then trade later. And so that's kind of like a system we've developed, and it has worked really well. You know, you hate to think that somebody would do something like that to your neighborhood, but as we saw in that video, these things can happen in broad daylight.
Right.
I mean, porch pirates are getting bolder and bolder every year and seemingly just not caring about damaging people's properties or stealing it.
Something that Itanese mentioned during her presentation just now was that, you know, porch pirate thefts are down this year, maybe because of the pandemic, because more people are home or working from home. So opportunities to, you know, steal something from someone's porch aren't as prevalent because people are home more now. However, that said, I feel like doorbell apps are also very common, and they are the best evidence you could ever ask for in catching someone who's doing this and keeping them from doing it again. So with the, you know, abundance of camera apps out there that you can, you know, purchase that really aren't a lot of money considering what they do to protect your home. And then also people staying home, we might not see a lot of this, but certainly keep on guard. And if there's a secret way that you can, you know, put on your instructions for your delivery driver, please leave it in the back of the bush on the side of the, whatever that may be beneficial down the road. If they can't see it, they probably won't come to your house to steal it.
Under the odd-shaped rock beside
right. And clearly marked instructions. Walk 4 paces to the left.
Right.
But you mentioned the doorbell camera thing, and that we've seen that on the rise over the last couple of years. How many people have one? Several people right now, and so we've seen that on the rise, probably because of this kind of thing right here.
Right. And there, some of them are selling for like $19.99.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a fairly inexpensive way, to really kind of keep tabs on what's going on at home while you're at work.
Right. Some of them. There are very pricey ones too.
Right.
I don't have those.
I think it's also important to look at the estimated ship dates, making sure that you're going to be home in that general
or the
time
alerts.
frame. Yeah, get the alerts,
Yeah.
the package alerts. I sign up for those too. Obviously, there have been numerous shipping delays and other issues lately with the supply chain that sometimes throw those dates way off. But if you know you're not going to be home and the package is supposed to arrive during that time, maybe wait to order it or send it somewhere else.
Right.
Because it's just going to be sitting there.
A lot of times too, if I know I'm going to be really, moving around or in and out a lot, and I don't know whether I'm going to be home or not, a lot of times if you're ordering from somewhere that has a brick and mortar store close by, a lot of times I'll just have it sent there and I'll just go pick it up. And honestly, a lot of times, sometimes it gets there quicker than it does to my house.
That is very smart. I've done that before, not probably as often as I should, but that's actually a really, really good way to make sure that, especially if you're not as close to your neighbors as like Megan is, or you don't know, people in your neighborhood, that could be a great option for you. So that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So Joanne said she doesn't order things by mail. She likes to see what she's buying, but if she did, she would make sure there's a safe place for them, like a neighbor's house. Joanna said on her street, nobody is stealing any packages because they are all like sheriffs in her neighborhood, watching out for each other's houses. So that's great. Got to look out for everybody,
Right.
Yeah, you do. And a lot of those community watch programs are really good for that kind of thing too.
Yes. I'm sorry, I'm replying to Joanne, who reminds us that today is December 7th, which is Pearl Harbor Day. Yeah. She says she remembers that day well. And, it is very important to take a moment and think about that day, something that, this generation or future generations rarely do because they weren't around to see the impact or significance or don't know their great-grandparents who fought so bravely for America in this conflict. So, it is important to just kind of think about that day. And Joanne, I'm sure you have very good memories, vivid memories of hearing the, attack on Pearl Harbor. So, share with us. We'd love to hear from you. There are very few people who have that experience and are able to pass that information down to the younger ones. So we appreciate your expertise and your history, and we would love to hear more about it.
Yeah, 80 years ago today was when that attack happened. A day which will live in infamy, as FDR said, when the U.S. officially entered World War II after Pearl Harbor. There's an event happening in person today at the Pearl Harbor Memorial in Hawaii, and a group of local students is actually going down there to perform. So that's very exciting. Of course, the pandemic forced the cancellation of some of those remembrances last year, but on this important milestone anniversary, 80 years, it, I think, is going to be really meaningful for veterans, survivors, and their families to gather and pay their respects.
Part of the greatest generation I think that ever lived, and there are not many of those left with us. So.
Exactly, yeah. There are only a handful of World War II veterans who are still with us today. So that's one of my favorite parts is, seeing them and recognizing them and, thinking of them on this day, especially because they saw a lot of their brothers, killed unnecessarily and unmercifully on Pearl Harbor. So
yeah, if you're lucky enough to still have a grandparent or somebody close that was part of World War II or or was in some way, shape, or form in that realm or fought in those wars, I mean, just cherish every single moment you have with them. I think I mentioned it before, you know, my grandpa was in Battle of the Bulge, so
Yeah.
not Pearl Harbor, Battle of the Bulge, and we lost him last year, but I just cannot tell you how meaningful those stories that he told were. And he wouldn't talk to a lot of people about them because, you know, he was under the impression, and I still, you know, I truly believe this, I don't think people really understood the gravity of the situation. But if you really showed like you cared and like you know, you were really interested in that, he would talk to you for hours.
Oh, I
and
bet.
and some of the stories that he could tell from those days, I mean, you can't even fathom or imagine
Right.
what they went through, and
I
so it's just amazing.
Wow, you are very fortunate
Yeah.
to have had those conversations and those moments. So make sure you keep passing them along.
Absolutely.
We don't want this to be the forgotten generation.
Nope.
They are the greatest generation.
I believe that.
All right, let's take a break from that and take a look at the forecast, which is different from the last few days.
Ooh, in a big way. In a big way. You're just going to feel like a shock when you step out the door this morning. We're in the 30s right now, as opposed to being in the 50s yesterday morning at this time. So gloves and big coats and, you know, maybe a tall coffee. That's not a bad idea today either. Mostly sunny. We're in the upper 40s this afternoon. Bit of a breeze this morning, but that relaxes some as we go into your Tuesday afternoon and on into Tuesday evening. Now tonight the clouds will build back in heading into your Wednesday. And by the time you wake up tomorrow morning, go ahead and plan to take the umbrella with you to work and throughout your morning routine, just in case. I think we could have a few showers across the Triad, but places to the north and west likely going to miss out on any beneficial rainfall again with this system. And the Triad's not looking at getting a whole lot, generally on the order of less than 1/4 of an inch. So every little bit helps, but we sure would like a little more than that. Most of the rain's going to fall to the south and east of our area, and it starts to exit heading into your Wednesday afternoon, but it's still a chilly day of weather in the upper 40s. We've got more sunshine, but we're still cool in the low 50s for Thursday. And then as we end the week and go into the weekend, we'll have the opportunity for a few showers on Friday afternoon. We're warming up a bit there into the upper 50s, close to 60. Take a look at Saturday, though. 70 on Saturday. The only issue is there are some extra clouds, and we'll have another system that heads our way, a strong, pretty potent-looking cold front that'll head our way Saturday evening and into Sunday morning, which likely brings some rain with it. Now, how much or the exact timing of that is still yet to be determined, so we'll nail down the details on that as we go throughout the next several days. But that'll look like our next opportunity to get some meaningful rainfall, and then we're chilly again to start next week. We'll be in the low 50s with sun on Monday, but looking ahead after that, looks like we're headed for another warm-up. So up and down, we keep going.
Just give us that 70 on Saturday, and we are happy to just bundle up in the meantime.
Just pepper one in every now and then. We'll be happy.
On a weekend.
It's like the bright side of things,
Right.
literally the bright side of
Yes.
things. All right, guys, thanks so much for joining us for this edition of After GMS on your Facebook live stream. It's at 7:45 every day, and we're here on the Good Morning Show starting at 5:30 on News 2. We'll see you later.
See ya.